Why can't he be detained? Is there a legal, they say you have the power, is there a legal avenue you can go down to detain him? Why this is going on? And if so, is there a motion that has to be filed?
The issue of whether he's, I don't know if you mean detained like in custody or something.
Yes.
If need be.
So there's not enough right now. Well, I don't. That's not right.
That's what I'm trying to. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to.
So the investigation is ongoing.
We know that, but I'm just saying, there's in legal stature, he can legally be detained. Why this is going on, and that's why she's trying to figure out why it's taking so long. We understand the investigation is going on. We understand the forensics, but the man involved in the shooting with our son, there should be some legal action you can take and detain him why this is going on.
So the way the law works is if somebody is held in custody, they can only be held in custody for 48 hours.
Okay.
Unless there's some document that's filed against them that is that.
Right. That's
and
what
we're
I'm bringing
not
up.
prepared to file a document.
That's what
right
I'm bringing
now.
up. Does a motion need to be filed?
We're not prepared to file a document right now because we are still doing the investigation.
Okay. But then at the very least, it would be him on paid, because that's the norm, is for them to be on paid administrative or leave. So it kind of puts us between a rock and a hard place as to where the DA office stands and Bart, if he was allowed to return back to work.
That's a personnel issue, and that as we talked about last week, that there's a personnel investigation going on by Bart. And that's I have no access to that. I don't have authority over it. I don't have access to it.
I'll call you back.
And even trying to get personnel records, we have to get a court order, which we're working on. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it's not even a court order. We have to go to court to do it. The second part is the Oakland Police are the primary investigating agency. We do a separate investigation to make the determination about whether, in this case, the question is whether the actions were reasonable or unreasonable. And so that's the focus that we have right now. The issue about him being back at work or him being on paid leave or him being on unpaid leave, that all is within the confines of the BART personnel matters and the police officer's Bill of Rights. So that's a BART question. It's not a DA question.
But would it be safe to say that it would be helpful if there was a recommendation from your office?
No, it wouldn't be helpful. I have no authority to tell them anything. And I'm being, as we talked about a few minutes ago, it's really important to me that we stay focused on the evidence because we have to make a critical decision. And I know you want us to stay open-minded to the evidence and follow the evidence and the law.
Well, looking at the evidence, I see that it was not reasonable. This is my thoughts, because this is what I see. It was not reasonable. His back was turned to the officer as he put his hands up in the air, and he still, after being shot 3 times, going down, he was still putting his hands up. His hands were still in the air. He was trying to, even with 3 gunshots, he still had his hands in the air as he went down. You know, but as I said earlier, when you have fear, and we are considered as a threat, African American man commonly called, considered as a threat, then they're going to continue to be shot down because they're going to use the word fear. Even in a lion habitat, the lion knows how to de-escalate certain things. A lion knows how to evaluate certain things. And this is a lion. We're talking about an animal. What more for a human? What more for a human? But when you train, you're conditioned. And they are conditioned to kill, to murder. And someone has to stop it. It has to stop now because we have children. I have children and grandchildren, and many of you in here have children and grandchildren. The coming on, the going on, the moving on generation. What about them? Are they going to be shot down and killed and murdered, you know, on a daily basis? This is happening on a daily basis all over the world. It's because of the minds of the people. And our society is saying that no one shall be held accountable because it's convenient.
Right.
It's convenient for society to keep things the way it is when it shouldn't be. You know, when you do a wrong, then you be held accountable for that wrong. And you do the time, and then it's done and over with. But I think someone have to be held, and I feel that Joseph Matu should be held accountable.
Yes, he should.
But you know my thoughts, and I'm looking to see yours in your office thoughts of doing what is right towards humanity. Someone have to be held. Someone have to be the sacrifice, because our children have been the sacrifice.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, they keep telling me that Jesus died and then he rose. When is he going to rise? When are the people going to rise in their thought pattern, in humanity? When are they going to rise to being the people that they should be? When are they going to rise? You know?
I'm sorry. Is there a reasonable time frame that you have in mind, as to expectation when this get wrapped up?
I don't have exactly a time frame, you know, and I mean, when we engage different outside assistants, we ask them what their time frame is, how much they need. So when if we have a better idea about that, then certainly we'll share it, but right now I don't have one.
Are Officer Matu's statements that he made to Oakland PD, are they able to be released to the family at this time?
I would doubt it. I think because it's an ongoing investigation. And I also think that, well, what I'm hoping is that now the focus is going to be on gathering all of the evidence rather than piecemealing out into the media, so that it may be part of a story, it may not be the full thing, it may not be right. So that's why we have to challenge the information that we have from the standpoint of making sure that what is written is actually supported by the other evidence, or not. And so, once again, I think that for us, we just need to focus on looking at the evidence, making sure we're looking at every single thing, and that whatever the decision ultimately is, it's the evidence and the way the law guides.
Is there someone responsible for retracting statements that we can speak to at Oakland PD? Like, is someone that they have that speaks to the media that can retract a statement, that we could know who that person is and maybe talk to them about having some of that narrative retracted, because they definitely slandered his name and definitely defamed his character when he was first murdered.
For a whole month.
And it happened from January to February.
Well, you have an attorney here, Mr. Burris, who knows.
Well, I know that. I was just wondering if you knew what department we should talk to about that in that jurisdiction.
Well, we can find out the department who we should talk to. I just want to say you had just stated according to the direction of the law, and what is actually that direction of the law?
The determination.
Yeah, to determine if it was reasonable or unreasonable.
Well,
because you said it's in a direction. What direction is that? Because it seems to be a set direction, and that's why I'm inquiring what direction is that.
So there is a lot of case law that talks about this, and in the end, the question, and this is what the law says, the question is, was the officer's conduct reasonable? Or the opposite of that is, can't in the criminal environment, not the civil.
I understand.
But in the criminal environment, and not the personnel either, because that's a different situation as well, is that if there is evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the officer's conduct was unreasonable. But again, I really don't want to get too much into that, because I don't want you to think that a decision has been made because I just gave those two different points. We really are looking at everything. And then when the time comes to sit down and look at the law, we will have all the evidence in front of us.
Okay. And you will let me know the findings, as my attorney John Barris had just mentioned, about some type of timeline as to when or how close I should say, you're getting to it.
Right.
Well,
Definitely.